Hello and welcome. My name is Allie Berry, and I felt compelled and drawn. I just keep thinking about reading in a live stream, and I thought I'd start with this book called The Way of the Fertile Soul by Randine Lewis, Ph.D. It's 10 ancient Chinese secrets to tap into a woman's creative potential. Um, I dig it. So let's give it a whirl. All right. This book is dedicated to my parents, Diane Elson and Brooks Anderson, from whom I learned unconditional love. Acknowledgements. I would like to extend my unending gratitude to the mysterious mother, whom I will never understand but will always revere. When I become too full of myself, she pulls me back into the lap of her fierce reality and helps me return to my truth, which is hers. I thank her for the many difficult and wondrous opportunities for growth that have allowed me to surrender to her wisdom. She has taken many forms, my own mother and grandmothers, and the mothers of the heart who make a difference in the world. A special thanks to my agent, Carol Susan Roth, my publisher, Cynthia Black, who believed in the message I have to convey. I would also like to recognize the amazing Fertile Soul staff and the practitioners of the Fertile Soul clinics who help facilitate the remedy for today's healing crisis. I would also like to thank those who have taken the courage to reach out for help and those who have discovered that true healing must come from within as they give birth to their real selves. May you continue to be restored as you dip into the unfathomable depth of the well of the mysterious mother. Come, drink. You need never thirst again. All right, preface. The idea to write this book grew out of my desire to expand the concept of women's fertility. When I told my patients that I was going to write The Way of the Fertile Soul, they urged me to share what they had learned about the real soul of Chinese medicine and meditation. I help women conceive, but more than that, I help them give birth to the deepest part of themselves. Whether they are trying to bring in a child or are looking for freedom in any aspect of their life at any age. This book is meant to bridge the gap between the full meaning of fertility and the narrow definition it has been limited to. The Way of the Fertile Soul is intended to open you up to create life in its myriad forms. Whether or not you are seeking to bear a child, this process is a tool to help you open up to the fruitfulness at your very core. Those trying to have a baby find that it opens them up to the life-giving powers of the universe. In the present time, as women redefine themselves once again, we are pregnant with possibility, ready to give birth to our own liberation. Fertility is life. Hey, Dean. Oh, hey, Trace. Hey. Welcome, everyone. Anybody who's just listening in, we're just getting to the introduction now. I'll take a sip here. We're reading The Way. How do I get this in here? The Way of the Fertile Soul by Randine Lewis. The 10 Ancient Chinese Secrets to Tap into a Woman's Creative Potential. Hey, Love Ball. Yay. Awesome. All right. So let's check it out. Introduction. Living the life you want. Hope. You are indeed carrying within yourself the potential to visualize, to design, and to create an utterly satisfying, joyful, and pure lifestyle. Rainer Maria Rilke. When I began, more than 20 years ago, to research a successful infertility cure, I looked into ancient sources of Eastern wisdom, the Tao and traditional Chinese medicine. These systems have helped people around the globe create inner balance and live in harmony with their environment for thousands of years. I reinterpreted their guidance to apply to women in the 21st century. I uncovered 10 secrets and developed a program that enables women who previously couldn't conceive to become pregnant and have healthy babies. At first, I taught my technique only to help women become pregnant, and my program resulted in an astonishing increase in participants' pregnancy rate. But I also found that it resulted in helping women move forward and feel increased vitality and contentment in all areas of their lives, from their work to their home life to their sense of self. As their fierce fight to have a child lessened, the women found that they were more capable of living a calm yet energized, happy life, and they were able to more easily fulfill their most cherished dreams. Letting go instead of resisting the way things are proved to be the path to serenity. How can my program not only enable conception, but reduce stress and increase vitality? It's because infertility, lack of vitality, and stress are bound together. They're all systems of a life out of balance. Our procreation energies are at the very core of our being, and if obstructed, can't be fully expressed. But once stress and the blocked energy, bodily imbalances, and dysfunctional organ responses it produces are released, women become not only more able to conceive, but more relaxed, more receptive, and more joyful, open to new ideas, new projects, and new lives. I've seen it time and time again. Rebecca, a psychotherapist who attended 4 of my fertile soul retreats, described how the ancient secrets helped her stop trying to force her destiny and live instead according to her true nature. It's like losing your keys. You look everywhere and anywhere. Sometimes you look in the same place multiple times, but you still have no keys. It is when you give up looking that they suddenly appear under your nose and you're amazed that they were right there the whole time. You swear you looked there. I looked for my keys to a happier life for 3 years. I used every flashlight, strobe light, and digging machine I could find. I didn't want to stop looking because I didn't want to give up that sense of control. Letting go of control is the hardest step of this process, but it's the one with the greatest reward. When you stop trying to control the outcome, everything that you're looking for will come to you. Your keys will be found. They've been there all along. My personal path to balance. Welcome, anybody new and any lurkers out there. I discovered the 10 secrets that let women reduce their stress and tap into the creative power of the universe when I was trying to prove myself to the world. In my 20s, I became obsessed with my weight, my appearance, and my achievements. I developed addictive qualities and became more and more aware of the emptiness inside that I was desperately trying to fill with external pursuits, including the fight to have a child. Although I had conceived my first daughter fairly easily, things were much more difficult the second time around. I was fresh out of medical school, married to a physician, and determined to have another child. Month after month passed by without producing the longed for result, and I became more and more obsessed with bearing another child. I also started experiencing some unsettling hormonal problems. My periods became irregular, sometimes disappearing completely. My hair began to fall out, and I suffered through night sweats and joint pain. A visit to my gynecologist revealed I had extremely low estrogen and progesterone. Oh, shit. progesterone levels. Did I say that right? Which were preventing me from conceiving. My doctor recommended I take a drug called clomiphene citrate, to stimulate my ovaries to produce more eggs. Though I was desperate enough to undergo just about any medical treatment to become pregnant, I decided against taking Clomid. I believed I had a problem with my entire hormonal system, not with egg production, and hormones couldn't rectify that. I didn't know it then, but hormones operate via negative feedback, meaning that when you supply hormonal drugs from the outside, they shut off your body's own hormonal production. My husband, Ed, also reminded me of the many medical problems that can result from hormonal stimulation. Deep within me, I knew that a child wouldn't come simply because I demanded it. So I decided to heal myself. The decision was the beginning of the end of my struggle. Somehow I knew that the only way I would really heal was from within. I read everything I could about conception and reproduction. I changed my lifestyle to include a more balanced eating plan and meditative movement exercises. Eventually, I stopped smoking, drinking alcohol, coffee, and diet soda, and eating milk products, sugar, and animal products. I drank wheatgrass every day and took several nutritional supplements. In other words, I took better care of myself. Then I read a book that described how acupuncture could help treat infertility. So I started going to 3 different acupuncturists who treated me in 3 different ways. I also began taking Chinese herbal infertility tonics, which smelled and tasted awful. I tried every possibility I came across. But as I chased more cures, I still didn't become pregnant. My health improved enormously though. My hair stopped falling out, the night sweats came less often, and my energy increased significantly. I felt like a stronger, healthier person, which allowed me to become even more comfortable with my new way of life. Soon, I was actually enjoying life again and became pregnant. I was thrilled and hooked on the benefits of Oriental medicine. To learn more about it, I enrolled in Chinese medical school at night and completed the 4-year program in half the time. Wow, motivation. Then, to apply my new knowledge, I moved with my family to Dalian, China. Sorry if I mispronounced that. To work in a hospital that treated patients exclusively with traditional Chinese medicine. After my return, I established a clinic in Houston, Texas, and began treating women with reproductive disorders. I also earned a Ph.D. in alternative medicine. My dissertation dealt with enhancing fertility using traditional Chinese medicine. It was while I was in China that I first studied the ancient Chinese texts of the Tao and traditional Chinese medicine. I read about how Taoism, one of the most ancient ways of life, often called the Way, promotes inner harmony by bringing energy sources into balance. And I researched the 5,000-year-old principles of traditional Chinese medicine, in which the body is understood through a holistic view of nature. As I worked at the Dalian Hospital, and later when I returned to the United States, I saw firsthand the powerful results of applying those concepts and principles and started to use them in conjunction with Western medicine. Badass. All right. But my own struggles with reproduction weren't over. A few years after our second daughter was born, Ed and I decided to expand our family again. I became pregnant, but 10 weeks into the pregnancy, I miscarried. I was inconsolable. I felt numb and deeply depressed, both physically and mentally. But I continued to take care of my health, body, mind, and spirit. And after just a few months, I discovered that I was pregnant again. But this pregnancy did not go easily. Early on, my hormone levels dropped, and I and everyone around me thought I would lose this baby too. But instead of struggling and resisting the potential catastrophe, I followed what I had learned through studying the Tao. I surrendered. The possibility of losing another baby profoundly shifted my outlook on life and caused me to let go of the outcome. That doesn't mean that everything went smoothly from that moment on. There were complications right up to the end, but because I let go of the outcome, I was able to feel a deep sense of serenity throughout that long and difficult experience, a peace that spread to every part of my life. I also came to understand even more deeply how important it is for women to take charge of their health, nourish and care for their bodies, and release their stress, no matter what they do in their everyday lives or which phase of life they're in. That understanding made me turn again to the ancient wisdom of the Tao and traditional Chinese medicine. This time, as I read these books, I realized that their principles had been determined and were supported by a male or yang dominated society, and that the feminine or yin side to the teachings was hidden, untranslated, and ignored. I found new meaning in the old principles and saw that women needed to restore the balance of yin and yang by aligning the energies of their bodies, minds, and spirits. I love this part. Um, I found the feminine roots in the Tao and traditional Chinese medicine, which led me to develop a feminine model of balanced, fruitful living. This new model not only helps women conceive and deliver healthy babies, but reduces stress and enables them to live comfortably, creatively, and fully throughout their lives. The program is based on the 10 secrets of healthful living that I discovered in the ancient tomes. Secret 1: balance your energies, physical, emotional, and spiritual. This one is harmony. Secret 2: let yourself be who you are. This one is contentment. Secret 3: find and embrace your inner spaciousness, openness. Hey, Jenny, welcome, welcome. Secret 4: allow life to live through you, nature's way. Secret 5: let go of resistance, release. Secret 6: live from your joy, rather than your fear. This is emergence. Secret 7, use your emotions to revitalize your life. And this one is trust your emotions. Secret 8, live vertically instead of horizontally. This one is alignment. Secret 9, re-energize yourself by repatterning. This one is vitality. And then the 10th secret is match your external actions to your internal blueprint, embodiment. Ooh, very cool. Let me get a sip here. All right. The Way of the Fertile Soul details each of these powerful secrets and shows you how to use them to reduce stress, renew energy, and achieve the inner balance and harmony you need to fulfill all your cherished dreams. It also offers easy to understand information about the Tao and traditional Chinese medicine and provides you with exercises and other tools to help you discover and assess your own sources of imbalance and blocked energy. In addition, you'll hear how women who attuned my fertile soul you'll hear how women who attended my fertile soul retreats around the world have used the 10 secrets to revitalize and enrich their lives to an extent they hadn't thought possible. Michelle, who now works for the Fertile Soul organization, described her process this way. I now feel that I have given birth to myself. I have struggled, but I have learned to nurture myself. Though the initial nurturing was more of a licking of wounds, over time I began to fertilize my own fertile ground. With patience and fortitude, new life sprouted, and by watering those delicate ferns, I have allowed myself to grow strong and fertile in the life I was already living. Ooh, I like that. Being fertile and fruitful doesn't apply only to giving birth to a child. It also applies to giving birth to the self you want to be and to a life filled with passion, strength, joy, and adventure. By tapping into the power of the universe, from which all life, babies, new ideas, new dreams, and new ways of being arises, and by using the 10 ancient secrets, you can reconnect with your true nature and create a deeply satisfying way of living. Calm, vital, fruitful, and blissful. The Tao is called the Great Mother, empty yet inexhaustible. It gives birth to infinite worlds. It is always present within you. You can use it any way you want. Tao Te Ching. Okay, part 1. Hey, Preli, welcome, welcome. We're reading The Way of the Fertile Soul. Okay. Part 1, 3 sources of wisdom: the Tao, traditional Chinese medicine, and you. All right, using ancient wisdom to improve your well-being. A primer to the Tao and traditional Chinese medicine. The Way. Just imagine what would happen if practicing physicians, the ones who came into contact directly with suffering humanity, had some acquaintance with Eastern systems of healing. The spirit of the East surges through every pore as a balm for all the afflictions. Carl Jung. All right, the Tao Te Ching. The Tao simply means the way. It is not a religion or a belief. It is a deep understanding that comes from viewing the natural processes of life on our planet, the way a flower blooms, the way an acorn bursts from a seed to become a towering oak tree, the way we all begin life as the pure potential of an embryo, full of our parents' hopes and desires for us, and the promise created with our first breath. The Tao describes the way of living that expands and deepens all the things that happen between our first breath and our last. What we do while we are on this planet, who we spend our time with, and how we take care of the precious life we were given. The Chinese character for Tao incorporates the concept of the deepest part of our being, in alignment with the highest part of ourselves. The ancients tapped into this deep awareness and alignment, which allowed them to view themselves as an integral part of the great whole. When we too tap into the understanding, when we too tap into that understanding, we see that we are a microcosm of the universal forces of nature, that there is something more than ourselves. When we follow the way, we become creation itself, something new, the fulfillment of a dream, and we abide by the same principles of physics that govern all natural things. Taoists look at life as the miraculous intermingling of the body, mind, and spirit. Cool. They believe that your body came to existence through forces beyond your control, and that your spirit, the enlivening force in everything that exists, entered the cells your parents co-mingled to produce your form. While your body develops according to the DNA patterning that was encoded in your embryonic cells, Taoists believe each person chooses how he or she will blossom. They believe that spirit enables us to blossom in many ways and lets us choose which, if any, fruit we want to bear. And while our body's potential eventually is exhausted and, like autumn leaves that have fallen, our form begins to crumble. Our spirit lives on in what we have created. The Tao is the spiritual force that brings all of existence out of the void. You may want to think of it as an intelligent, creative power that caused time, form, and space to rise up when nothing in our world existed. The creative power has two polar charges, one positive called yang and one negative called yin. Both are found throughout the cosmos, in all of nature, and in each of our cells. From the Tao comes light energy that forms a network of existence. In human form, this energy aligns itself horizontally and vertically. The horizontal lines determine the time-space plane that we know as our material life. The vertical line determines our ability to ascend from lower to higher spiritual planes. The soul, which zips the spirit into material form, enabling it to manifest, arises from this energy grid and is integrated with the body, giving us our potential. Though you may not think so at this point, every one of us, including you, has constant access to this potential, to the power of creation. To reach it, one turns attention within, becomes still, and merges with the limitless void each of us has in the center of our heart. When you do this, you will see that you are connected to all of creation, to energy, possibilities, acceptance, and fruitfulness. As Lao Tzu, the 6th century BC philosopher who is thought of as the founder of Taoism, wrote, we join spokes together in a wheel, but it is the center hole that makes the wagon move. We shape clay into a pot, but it is the emptiness inside that holds whatever we desire. We hammer wood for a house, but it is the inner space that makes it livable. We work with being, but non-being is what we use. I love that, right? Yay! Welcome, you alls. Hello, Desert Rose. All right. When we are born, we begin to grow into a predetermined horizontal plane of existence. But we also have within us a spark of the divine. Some call this God, spirit, harmony, or love, whatever feels right to you. That gives us our purpose and lets us produce and create and manifest our dreams. If we can recognize and stay connected to this spark, it will guide us upward from our pure potential to our highest calling and show us our infinite possibilities. The creative spark within all women I call the divine feminine potential, or mysterious mother. And I consider all women fertile souls who can recognize that spark and through it live happily according to the way. Though divine connection is and has always been accessible to all, over time, many of us have become disconnected, our feet bound, our hands tied, and our souls stifled under various patriarchal systems. When we stop paying attention to our spark, we eventually lose power and become stressed, depressed, and exhausted. This book will help to strengthen that connection again, help you open your eyes, your heart, and your life to its great potential. In the words of the Indian saint Amachi, the essence of motherhood is not restricted to women who have given birth. It is a principle inherent in both women and men. It is an attitude of the mind. It is love. And that love is the very breath of life. I'm so glad that quote just came up because even though this is like, it's balancing out the scales between like the masculine and the feminine of the Tao and people who came before, like this is for everyone, right? Okay. Um, that quote, very breath of life, men and women. Okay. But how exactly do we open ourselves to our potential? How can we get back on the path we slipped off when we shed our childhood innocence? If you've ever thought that life would be easier and better if only you had a roadmap, you can take heart because nature did provide you with one that you can easily learn to follow. And you need to and all you need to do is follow your natural tendencies. They will lead you to where you want to go. First, however, you must open up to receiving your new path. As we learn in the story of the Zen master who could not teach a scholar because the scholar was too full of ideas, learning to empty herself of forced ways of being, empty yourself of forced ways of being will allow you to embrace your inner spaciousness and open your mind to a healthier and more vital approach to life. Traditional Chinese medicine. Chinese medicine views human beings as microcosms of the universe. Human brains contain about as many neurons and human bodies about the same number of cells as there are stars in our galaxy. The electrons within our cells orbit protons the way the Earth circles the sun at the same speed. And we breathe the air that has been breathed by every person and animal that has ever lived. Gandhi, Mary Magdalene, and pterodactyls. All right, we'll just move on. According to Chinese medicine, everything in nature, including people, is composed of one energy or life force called qi. Like electricity, this energy aligns itself according to negative and positive polarities known as yin and yang and exists on three levels: source, soul, and spirit. People also live according to the changes of the four seasons, exhibit 5 eccentric tendencies, follow 6 directions, and have 8 primary modes of interaction based on the energies found in nature. Ooh. When all these systems are in balance, we exhibit a state of harmonious, high-quality energy that enables us to function at a higher level as well. When we are in balance, we are healthy, with vitality flowing unobstructed through our body, mind, and spirit. The 3 levels of energy. Some practitioners of Eastern healing believe that our life is lived in a kind of upward lifting spiral that follows the grid of horizontal and vertical energy I just described. Our lower energies, or pure potential, are at the bottom, the source level, and our highest energies, or spirit, are at the top. In the middle is the soul level, in which we interact with our world. Our aim throughout life is to move from the lowest level to the highest. We live at the source or essence level, the foundation or energy spirit, during the first phase of our life. During that time, we connect with our potential and live centered on ourselves. You only have to look at a newborn baby to see this. She stays tightly coiled, her arms and legs pulled in, her hands clenched, gripping any finger with which they come in contact. She is uncomfortable when she is swaddled. Just as she was when she was enclosed within the uterus. Once she emerges, she lives according to her genetic imprint, and as she continues to follow that blueprint, she layers on top of it what her life will become. So there's this cool little diagram right here. It says spirit level blossoming, soul or chi level, the interacting or bearing fruit, and then the source or essence level is the bud. So this has all the Chinese elements on it. We've got the wood, fire, metal, water, earth. I'll show you what it looks like if I can. Fire representing our highest capacity. Metal represents our interactions with others. Water represents our pure potential. Wood represents the work we perform in the world. And earth in the center represents the center of our being and how we treat ourselves. Ooh, so cool, right? Especially when it comes to like astrology and tarot. Okay. Research in quantum physics has shown that our beliefs actually reinforce and reshape the very structure of our DNA. As above, so below. As within, so without. Okay. In his book, The Biology of Belief, scientist and scholar Bruce Lipton tells us that the structure of our DNA changes as we open up to new ways of being and change ourselves by modifying how we look at the world. In our potential source state, our DNA is tightly coiled, governed by the survival instinct and fear. Yet, when we discover the divine potential within ourselves, a new structure emerges. Accepting our divine state of being then fuels our climb to higher levels, where we become stronger, more aligned, and more joyful. The second stage, or soul or chi level, is where we interact with the world. At this stage, our efforts are focused on doing, outwardly expanding, or on being, focused inward. It is here that we can rewrite aspects of our inherited potential, actually improving upon our genetic design. Hey, cool. Maybe that's where I am. By treating ourselves well and interacting positively with our environment, we aren't victims of our inherited DNA. We can choose our body's expression and experience. Ancient Chinese medicine refers to this principle as tonifying our ancestors. Ooh, cool. Meaning nourishing ourselves into the pool of our entire collective, past, present, and future. This is mind-blowing. Is improved by our own intention and attitude to our own well-being. By embracing our divine potential and living according to its dictates, we can redefine our lives. The third, or spirit stage, is where our divine potential blossoms. This stage is where we completely uncoil to let our highest self emerge. We unclench and we live to the fullest, free of all constraints. We open ourselves to the wonders of creation and unleash our powers of the universe to live our passion. All of us have the ability to raise our energy from its primordial potential to its highest capacity and find the balance and happiness we seek. Using the vertical horizontal energy grid to find balance within and without, you're going to learn to recognize and utilize all of your energies to break away from habits that have kept you stuck in unhealthy patterns and to empower you to gain control of your body, mind, and spirit. As the Serbian proverb says, be humble, for you are made of earth. Be noble, for you are made of stars. You are made of the earth and stars. I encourage you to follow the way to find your deepest purpose and express it joyfully, to learn what makes the earth move and the stars dance for you. Hey, welcome, Steve. Awesome. Welcome all. All right, how I transformed my own genetic blueprint. My passion for my work is directly related to my personal experiences with the healing power I discovered in the Tao and in traditional Chinese medicine. I was born into circumstances that left me feeling alone and unworthy. As a teenager and then an adult, I felt ill-equipped for life and had little confidence. Eventually, I spoke with a tremor in my voice and believed I was utterly worthless. I didn't know how worthwhile I was, or even how worthwhile it was to be alive. I did not recognize the spark of the divine inside me, only the storyline I was living. Because of that, my potential was not realized. I tried to overcome my lack of self-worth by going overboard and trying to prove myself worthy. I chose partners I thought would make me feel better about myself, not those who were actually good for me, and I for them. I smoked, drank too much, exercised too much, worked too much, and defined myself by how I looked and by what others thought of me. Of course, none of this helped. I still was unable to reach my highest capacity. Not, that is, until I found the divine spark that was tightly coiled within me. Not, that is, until I found the divine spark that was tightly coiled within me. After years of reckless behavior, I found my way back to myself. When I lost all hope, I surrendered to life and found that place of stillness inside. And when I became still, I started appreciating the inherent joy of living. I realized that simply by being alive, I was worthy. With that understanding, I was able to move away from the purposelessness and exhausting life that I was living, in which I was constantly trying to prove myself and toward using my talents to reach my highest good. I created new boundaries for myself. I chose healthy relationships. I learned to live from a place of joy rather than fear. My unhappy circumstances gave me rich fuel for my ultimate transformation, and I grabbed that fuel and ignited it. Now I now I live following my own divine guidance, choice by choice, without stress, unless I choose it, moment by moment. In this way, my life keeps getting better. The universe keeps providing beyond my wildest dreams. I'm so grateful that life gave me the opportunity to rise from the source level into which I had been born to higher, more joyful states of being. Awesome. That's chapter 1. Okay, I need to take a sip of water. Okay, sweet. We'll get into chapter 2 then. Observing. Let's see here. Chapter 2, discovering your imbalances and blocked energy on your path to creative freedom. Observe. Like the moon, come out from behind the clouds, shine. The Buddha. When you follow the teachings of the Tao, you live more observantly. You pay closer attention to the little things inside your universe, such as how deeply you are breathing. You also pay closer attention to things throughout nature, blossoms and ant colonies, and the wonders of the night sky. By doing so, you stay conscious that all of life is indeed miraculous, and you begin to relate to it from a place of purity and wonder. When you live according to the principles of Chinese medicine, you become more internally aware so that you can more clearly see ways in which you might be stuck in unhealthy patterns of behavior. This recognition lets you shift the patterns into new, healthier ones that are in sync with your higher awareness. Understanding your energy sources. Anything that gets in the way of experiencing life in all its divine aspects is considered by Chinese medicine practitioners to be an imbalance. And in many ways, our society has become quite imbalanced. Instead of being attentive to the eternal, endless abundance that is within us, we are conditioned to pay attention to our aches and pains, to the news media, to negativity, to all the stressful actions that demand our immediate attention. This conditioning causes the mind to gradually close to the positive and the creative and forget the wonders of our universe. This has led to limited creative opportunity in schools and dwindling support for the arts. And being disconnected from the creative stream just leads back to further imbalance. This chapter will give you tools to explore and identify whether any of the 5 expressions of energy are out of balance in your body. The following chapters focus on unblocking these energies, finding balance, and resuming living in a harmonious state. Energy imbalances upset the mind-body-spirit complex and create stress, hormonal imbalances, fatigue, unhappiness, infertility, and internal discord, all of which cause dis-ease. But practitioners of Eastern philosophy don't believe in fighting dis-ease. Disease is not considered an enemy. Instead, disease is overcome by raising energy vibrations to a level at which the disease can no longer manifest and falls away on its own. This process begins by paying attention to symptoms of disharmony. Every little discomfort in your body, every disturbing thought, every so-called negative emotion is a knock at the door of your awareness that says, pay attention, which you must do. Unheeded warnings can become stronger and stronger. A bit of tension in the neck can lead to headaches, to an eventual stroke, even death. In Western medicine, pathology is the study of diseased tissue. However, in its original Greek, pathology means the study of suffering, not being at ease with what is. Suffering, disease, and pathology are caused by resisting what is. When disease is perceived as an enemy, as something to resist and fight, it gains strength from the resistance. For example, taking an aspirin for a headache without discovering the headache's source enables its return because we didn't learn its cause. We simply addressed its symptom. When we view an imbalance through the lens of compassion and love, however, rather than as an enemy, we learn from its presence in our lives, accept its message, and allow the dis-ease process to dissolve. Western medicine has a complex array of ammunition with which to treat disease. I feel lucky to have access to it when one of my children has a raging case of strep throat. But Western medicine doesn't keep us healthy. Its focus is on treating disease rather than supporting wellness. In ancient China, doctors were paid only if their patients stayed well. Dude, we should do that. All right. Why aren't we doing that? Today, the health community is rewarded only when people become sick or diseased. All right. Eastern medicine works within the framework of what is to encourage the restoration of health. It meets us where we are so that we can express the full potential of what we can become. Uncovering your patterns of living. According to the Tao, there are 7 stages of life that take us from conception to death. Primal essence or pure potential, becoming, distinct being, having a sense of self, expressing oneself, living through acquired conditioning, and following ingrained patterns. Within each stage is an opportunity to move forward by paying attention to our body's messages and overcoming those things that are holding us back from reaching our highest destiny. The following evaluation tools will help you look deep within yourself to uncover your patterns of living and learn how they differ from patterns in sync with your true nature. They will uncover the darkness within you so that you can begin to live from the light of your spirit. The Yin Yang questionnaires. The following questionnaires, am I saying that word right? Will assess your balance of feminine and male qualities. As mentioned in the introduction, traditional Chinese medicine and the Taoists view all in terms of 2 opposing forces known as yin and yang. Just as an electricity requires opposing forces to flow, life requires opposing forces to create energy. The yin and yang within us can become imbalanced. For example, if too much of your yang or active side is flowing too strongly, we can burn out from our careers, our activities, our families, by not taking time for rest. On the other hand, if our yin or more gentle side is flowing too strongly, we may disengage from everything and do nothing but rest. As you can see, the 2 polarities have extremely different characteristics, but yang is not better than yin and yin is not better than yang. Both are necessary. What is important is that they remain in a state of harmony. Okay, so yin yang. Okay, yang rather. We'll go over yang, then we'll go over yin. Yang, strong giving tendencies. Okay. Are prevalent in the upper part of the body, back, right, exterior parts of the body. They're prevalent in the stomach, intestines, gallbladder, urinary bladder, male sexual organs that fill and empty. They cause us to be active and get things done. They are light, bright, and vibrant. They are external, superficial, focused on the outside and doing. They are dominated by the sympathetic nervous system. They are positive and moving forward. They are dry, arid, used up, hot, hectic, restless, frenetic rather. They are loud, are busy, engaged, are vigorous, lively, and energetic. Now the yin energy, gentle, receiving tendencies. They're prevalent in inner parts of the body, the front fleshy parts, left inside of the body, are prevalent in the lungs, spleen, liver, heart, kidneys, uterus, and ovaries that hold specific functions. It causes us to be passive and allow life to happen. They are dark, shaded, and hidden from view, are interior, deep, focused on going within. They are dominated by the parasympathetic nervous system. They are negative, allowing you to stay in the same place. They are wet, moist, fertile. They are cool and calm. They are silent. They are still. And yin is receptive. Okay. Awesome, you guys. This is so cool, right? I don't know how long I'll go for. Maybe an hour. Maybe the end of this chapter. But thanks for being here with me. Our society, however, favors yang qualities over yin. Most rewards are given for action, not for looking within. It's acceptable to ask people it's acceptable to ask people who are being introspective, why aren't you doing something? In other words, value isn't perceived in contemplation, but it is important to balance activity with rest, turning external forces inward to allow turning external forces inward allows us to renew ourselves and prevents us from exhausting our resources. Seeds don't constantly produce. They gather strength within the dark, damp depths of the soil so they can burst forth with life. A fertile field must have fallow time or it won't produce a bountiful harvest. Women are emotionally and physically more yin. The distinctly female pituitary hormones, oxytocin, and, I don't know this one, pitocin, Pitocin, promote passive qualities and the ability to resolve conflict through bounding with whoa, whoa through bonding through bonding with other females. Long ago, women were valued for their fruitful, abundant natures, and it was their very connection to nature, to the ebb and flow of life, and their ability to give life that conferred that value. But when our cultures started becoming more externally oriented, women were shamed and punished for their connection with the forces of nature. Author Joan Borisenko tells the story of when, as a little girl, she questioned the non existent role of women in the synagogue. She asked her rabbi the reason for this discrepancy, and he responded that women don't need a house of worship to be connected to the spirit of life. They inherently are connected. Ooh. They bleed with the moon. They give life. They flow with the world through their emotions. Men, however, were seen as needing a house of worship because they connected to the spirit of life more from their thoughts and their intellect. This story reminds us that along with women, men's yin qualities have also been stifled, so that men too are not able to embrace their softer tendencies. Yin in every form has declined. Women have become much less focused on who we are inside and taught to focus attention on how we appear to the outside world. In an attempt to create more balance, women now strive to be more like men, developing their musculature, sucking in their bellies, and rejecting aspects of their femininity, such as being open and receptive. In my own case, because I perceived my parents were dissatisfied having yet another girl in the family, I reacted to this perception by acting like a boy. I kept my hair short, played sports, climbed trees, and tried to be tough. When I grew up, I retained the male attitude of doing and achieving that kept straightening my exterior to cover up the softness inside, strengthening my exterior to cover up the softness inside. I starved myself and exercised like a maniac to make the curves disappear. I literally made myself infertile. Dang, right? The ideas, right? We each have an inner yin aspect, trusting, intuitive, open, and flowing. And we each have an inner yin aspect, direct, confident, authoritative, and goal oriented. By identifying your yin and yang tendencies using the exercise below, you will become aware of your imbalances and grow from the understanding. For example, if your yang is too strong, you may be relying too much on your intellect while not letting your feelings impact your decisions. You may be prone to rigidity and imposing your will on others. If your yin is too strong, you may be extremely sensitive and emotional and lack an inner voice, losing yourself to others. Understanding your imbalances is the first step toward bringing your yin and yang back into alignment. Yin exploration. Write down your first response to the questions that follow and emphasize how these answers have shaped your life. 1. When you were growing up, how did you feel about being a girl or boy? 2. What kind of messages did you receive about the value of being female or the value of being male? Number 3. How did you feel when you had your first period? Where were you? Who were you with? What did you do? we need to liken that to like something else for men when that happens. I don't know. I did grow up female. Which of your feminine attributes give you a sense of pride or self-worth as a child? Or which of your masculine ones? Oh, look. I'm such a doof. We're exploring yin, okay? Which of your feminine attributes gave you a sense of pride or self-worth as a child? 5. How did you know your mother loved you? How did she show her love? 6. How did you show your love to your mother? And 7. Who were your female role models? Yin exploration. How did you know your father loved you? How did he show his love? 2. How did you show your love to your father? 3. Who have been the important men in your life? What did you learn from each of them about masculinity? 4. How do you think your life might be different if you were a man? 5. How old were you when you first had intercourse? How did you feel about it? 6. How do you feel about intercourse now? 7. How do you experience arousal? 8. What do you do with that feeling? 9. If you are in an intimate partnership, how is your relationship with your partner? 10. How do you show affection to your partner? 11. How does your partner show affection to you? Yin-yang exploration. All right, so 1. Identify and make a list of your feminine and masculine qualities. Feminine examples could be receptive, fertile, internally oriented. Masculine examples could be active, powerful, goal-oriented. 2. Which of these qualities work for you and support your cherished destiny? Which do not? 3. In which situations do you act more from your feminine nature? In which do you act more from your masculine nature? 4. When do you feel out of balance? 5. When do you feel in balance? 6. What can you do to bring more balance into your life? And 7. Your endocrine and reproductive systems consist of both masculine and feminine aspects. So do your attitudes about your reproductive system. Which masculine or feminine traits do you attribute to your feelings about your own fertility, your inner creativity, and your sense of sexual arousal? Now that imbalanced responses have been brought into the light of your conscious awareness, when you notice that these imbalances are showing up in your behavior, you can follow their resolution through intending a more balanced response. All right, the 5 energy tendencies. Woo, I'm starting to sweat up in here. Okay. Energy tendencies are metaphors for aspects of nature that repeat themselves over and over again. Earth, metal, water, wood, and fire. These tendencies show up in our personalities, emotions, interactions, and bodies. They create our energy field, the way we think, feel, and relate to ourselves and others. When our energy field is strong, nothing can penetrate it. Negative messages from magazines, the internet, television, billboards, news, and non-supportive coworkers and family members cannot get in. Earth, oh, so wait, what was that? That one was, wait, oh, that was just the end of that paragraph. Now we're going into what those ones are. Okay. Earth energies. Drawing the energy of the earth to the center of the body, represented by the spleen and the digestive system, creates a strong earth energy field. To assess how well your earth energies are functioning, consider how well you are maintaining boundaries in your life. Are you pulled in too many directions at once? Can you say no when you need to? Metal energies. Metal energy signifies contracting and expanding tendencies, the ability to come together and release. The lungs are the organ that carry this energy. To assess how well your lung energies are functioning, consider how much in life you are willing to release or let go. Are you clutching onto any person, thing, or situation that causes you to feel tense? Can you envision its release? Can you remember times in the past when it felt wonderful to let something go? What good questions. Water energies. Ooh, oh no, I got something in my mouth. Oh, it's a hair. Okay. Water energies. Water energies always seek to go deeper and search for crevices to seep into. Water energies are represented by the kidneys, and to assess their state, you need to determine how much you can love yourself. Even love the dark shadows within yourself and the way you express your authentic self in the world. Even the shadows are made up of the same spirit source as the rest of all of creation. You are courageous enough. Are you courageous enough to look at what you're really made of? Will you go into the depths and embrace what you find? Okay, wood energy. The wood element refers to the force contained within a tiny seed that enables it to develop into a sequoia. Dude, seeds blow my mind. Okay. In our bodies, this energy is represented by the liver, and it is powerful and free flowing. To find out the state of your own liver energies, ask yourself how free you feel in your life right now. What situations make you feel trapped? What makes you feel free? Can you discern which aspects you need to accept and which you can change? Fire energies. The fire energies are hot and expansive and are represented by the heart's circulation, which has an outward movement. To assess the quality of your fire energies, ask yourself how much love you can extend to the world. Can you forgive what you don't like? Can you envision yourself loving everything? Can you see the possibility of opening up just to love and finding that everything is perfect? Discovering your character tendencies. Each element defines certain characteristics of the human personality. You may find that you align almost entirely with one type of energy. If you do, you need to watch to ensure that its tendencies don't become excessive. On the other hand, you may find that you don't gravitate to all or one particular element, which means you may lack that energy and need to apply more effort to wielding its power. In either case, don't be alarmed. Many people have ample tendencies in 1 to 3 categories, but are lacking in one or more. Very few are balanced throughout the elements. And they need to build up or reduce one or two. I, for example, have the most water and earth tendencies, am strong in metal and almost lacking in wood. Thus, I have to watch for and address the sluggish tendencies of earth, water propensity for isolation, and a weakness in wood's tendency to exert itself in situations that call for more strength. As you go through the elements, become aware of how these tendencies can predispose you to react in certain ways, helping you to accept yourself as you are and to live in a more fulfilling way in harmony with all of life. Character tendencies. Earth people are centered, stable, and naturally nurturing of others. These strong earth mothers are the shoulders we all go to cry on. They are warm and love to give affection. They value and tend to their homes, inviting friends to the warmth of their hearth. They tend to have a few good friends to whom they are fiercely loyal. Earth people value stability, harmony, and sustenance. Can make a banquet out of a shoe. I get the point. Sorry, that was hard for me. And sustenance can make a banquet out of a shoe. Yet they can become overly stable and sluggish. They also have difficulty making decisions that take them out of their comfort zone. Because they are natural caretakers, they often lose their own boundaries and can have difficulty with self-care. It's okay. They naturally worry about those they love and like, as well as those who aren't close to them. Earth people can benefit from a hobby in which they can totally lose themselves, removed from obsessive concerns. It is helpful for Earth people to vary their routine, rearrange their house, and do something for themselves every day. Metal personalities value appearance and order. These detail-oriented people are disciplined and self-controlled, organized, meticulous, and discriminating. They value beauty and art and tend to be fastidious in their appearance as well as the aesthetics of their surroundings. They are natural analytics balls. I'm starting to struggle here. Let's try this again. They are natural analysts, yeah, and accountants, and can be counted on to care for priceless assets. They tend to see themselves as righteous and enjoy sanctified rituals. Those with imbalanced metal tendencies, however, have difficulty with disorder and spontaneity. They may become critical of others and have difficulty living with chaos and expressing emotions. They may wear a facade of clenched control and loathe the day when their order is upset. People with metal imbalances can have difficulty loosening grip. Because they aren't naturally impulsive, it can be helpful for them to pretend to be silly until the freedom feels good. Wearing one thing that doesn't match the other things they're wearing can get them used to the spontaneity of life. Maybe I need a sip of water. That was a struggle for me. Oh, I think, yeah, I'll get through this chapter and then I'm going to be blue and black. Water people value intelligence, wisdom, and insight highly. They tend to be quiet with almost a moaning quality to their voice. They are insightful and enjoy philosophical discussions and reading. They are perceptive and ingenious. They value being and knowing more than doing. Water people are honest, but they aren't as comfortable as their sisters in social settings. Sometimes it seems as if their view life hiding behind a bush. Sometimes it seems as if they view life hiding behind a bush, evaluating the safety and purity of a situation. They are independent loners, preferring to go with the flow, and may appear to be a bit guarded. They aren't prone to give affection easily, and yet can be pierced to the core. They value depth in others. They also have acute sensitive hearing, and while they tend to sleep well, ambient sounds can keep them awake at night. Water people tend to be on the lookout for the perfect teacher in life. However, imbalanced water tendencies can make these people prone to withdrawing from others and becoming isolated. Risking contact with others, though, and allowing themselves to be vulnerable can pull them back into balance. Wood people usually have strong, forceful personalities. They know what they want and can get it. Drawn to the color green, wood people can express their confidence and assertiveness, enjoy making things happen, and can easily bring their imaginative dreams to reality. Wood people have a great inner vision and are seers. They aren't easily hindered by boundaries, but are movers and shakers who take charge and become powerful leaders. Their ability to initiate action and run their plans decisively allows them to get things done. However, their intensity makes them prone to frustration when the world doesn't participate in their plans. They often have difficulty falling asleep at night and can be prone to high blood pressure. Sometimes wood people find it difficult to relax and tend to collapse rather than ease into rest when they do. Too much wood can make one feel invincible, separated from the rest of the world. Wood people need to work at remaining flexible and taking time for relaxation daily so that they can recognize their own limits and find peace within. Okay. Yeah. All right. Fire. Fire personalities are joyful, lively, and communicative. They embody the fiery red tendencies that ignite excitement around them. Always open to the next opportunity, they bring with them passion and delight. They might be a bit talkative, the natural life of any party, and they long to unite with others and receive admiration. Fire people are charismatic communicators and can make friends with anyone they meet. These natural lovers tend to be expressive and affectionate, but might be a bit clingy, not recognizing where they end and another begins. Their strengths are not in deep contemplation and preparing for the future. They tend to live in and embrace the moment. Because they are drawn to intimacy and unity, they tend to have difficulty going within and conserving their energy for tomorrow. It is helpful for the fire personalities to walk quietly by themselves every day and recognize their strength in solitude. All right. Rebalancing your tendencies. So, as so many people do, as a child and a young adult, I denied my true nature. Though I didn't understand it at the time, I was strong in water energies, in gathering and looking within. But I longed to be popular and vibrant, like the girls who were strong in fire energies. After a few drinks, I found that I could be like those girls, and alcohol became my tool for becoming what I perceived to be more valued by society. But while alcohol took away my inhibitions and made me socially acceptable in my own eyes, it eventually became my downfall because it made me act in a way that wasn't me. When I finally became still again and looked deeply within myself, I was able to understand that if I continued to live according to an outer authority, I would utterly lose myself. I'm just going to repeat that. If I continued to live according to an outer authority, I would utterly lose myself. I think that's important. Okay. Eventually, I began to accept my solitary nature and even learned to honor it. I started to live authentically, happily, as the person I truly am. Fiona, a beautiful British woman who attended a fertile soul retreat, married when she was 42 years old. She had been a successful professional analyst, but gave up her career soon after she married. When she arrived to the retreat, I found that emotionally she felt purposeless. Physically, she had relatively severe allergies. Physically, she had relatively severe allergies, asthma, and respiratory ailments. When she filled out the character tendency analysis, she gauged herself as almost all metal with no earth tendencies at all. So I suggested that she explore some creative ways to discover her inherent earth energies, which would help her to find passion as well as love herself and others. After she left the retreat, she dreamt about a garden where she felt peaceful and happy. I love dreams. Although she had no experience with gardening, she created a small garden in her backyard and found that she enjoyed spending time there, connecting with the earth. Little by little, she expanded her garden and found more and more pleasure placing her hands deep within the earth and making new life grow. As her peonies and rose bushes blossomed, Fiona felt a renewed sense of passion and started nourishing herself as she fertilized and nourished her garden. Her respiratory allergies completely resolved. Ha ha ha. That's the way of life. Well, the Tao, right? Yay! Hello, Heidi. Yes, welcome in. Um, as you go through the rest of the chapters, be aware of how your own tendencies impact you on every level, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. For example, if you found that you lacked water energies, it's likely you'll find that you have a problem with or an imbalance in your kidneys. Now, that doesn't mean that you will have kidney problems your entire life, but you may develop a propensity for kidney difficulties if you don't work at keeping them healthy. The body is so incredibly adaptive that organ systems borrow energy from one another to maintain balance as much as possible. Our bodies are so smart. Every symptom is a call for help and like a clue to grow. All right. Once you become aware of your imbalances, the 10 secrets to wellness will show you how to correct them, eliminate blockages, and lavish your body, mind, and spirit with loving attention and care to live a healthier, more fulfilling, more blissful life. The 7 stages of life. According to Chinese medicine, our original energy or essence unfolds according to an evolutionary blueprint that is initially governed by parental influences and later by influences of the life process. The 7 stages of living are landmark periods that signify how we make choices based on the ego self that take us away from our true nature. As you read, remember that each stage or each later stage contains opportunities for awareness and for finding your way back to the Tao, and that it is never too late to live a fertile life. Amen, right? Okay, so stage 1. The first stage of life is the fetal stage. When our parents yin and yang are magnetically attracted, their egg and sperm fuse to produce the blueprint for a new human being. This primal essence draws the soul into human form and imprints it with a unique nature willed by heaven. As long as the fetus remains within the womb, she has no sense of individuation and remains pure potential, like a seed, yet is influenced by the mother's response to her environment during gestation. The womb is the portal between the void and this plane of existence, right? All right, stage 2. The second stage of life begins as the infant accepts her first breath. It is thought of as the stage of spontaneous self-becoming. Ooh, cool. Spontaneous self-becoming. The infant is connected to all of life, but still has no sense of individuation. Like a bud, she comes into this essence as pure potential, sparked with unique expression of divinity, her soul, which is meant to unfold throughout the rest of her life. During this stage, she is subconsciously conditioned deeply by the environment in which she is growing up. Stage 3. The third stage of life is childhood. Excuse me. The child becomes conscious of herself when she learns her name and all about herself. She learns she is separate. She learns she is a separate identity, distinct from her parents and siblings, and finds myriad opportunities to become even more distinct and separate. During this stage, the child moves from the self-expressive spontaneity of childhood into more external awareness. Watch a young child dance, uninhibited and unself-conscious, still a pure expression of being. When she starts to dance for others, she loses her spontaneity and begins to forget her original face as she develops her own self-image. Deep wounds can occur at this impressionable phase of identity, especially if her image becomes tainted by messages of negativity and shame. Stage 4, right? Yeah. During this stage, the teenage years, yin and yang divide and set the stage for the loss of original nature. As teenagers learn more about the world, they lose touch with their true nature and begin to define themselves according to others. I have the power to create. I have hips. I like black. I am cool. I like tall boys. I am mysterious. I like horses. I see myself as fat, so you must see me as fat too. It is during this stage that she begins to reject heaven's will and assert her individual will into the world. But the ego has an agenda. I must be skinnier and cooler in order to be happy. And that becomes a theme that colors her response to the world. My theme during these years was, I can never be good enough. Wounds can contract us into acting out negative life themes at this stage. For example, Janice grew up being sexually abused by her older brother, someone she had loved and respected. When the abuse worsened into rectal penetration, she became deeply ashamed and left home. Rather than enjoying the self-defining phase of adolescence, she lived the pathology of mental and metal. She lived the pathology of metal and became rigid and withdrawn. She also developed the most severe case of painful endometriosis I had ever seen, in which her bowels became enveloped by the lining of her uterus. When Janice ovulated, her rectum, instead of her uterus, produced copious amounts of mucus, and each period brought on severe menstrual cramps and bleeding, and rectal bleeding. Damn bean. After being involved in a deep spiritual quest that took her out of her body, Janice came to the Fertile Soul Retreat. Although she had been able to remove herself from the pain her body was experiencing, she hadn't found a cure for her mental and emotional pain. After spending time with her, I determined that I needed to bring her back into her body in order for her to heal emotionally. But it was incredibly difficult. As I performed acupuncture on her, It was hard to keep her in the treatment. She closed her eyes to escape. But after a month of doing qigong, qigong, shoot, qigong, um, Chinese breathing exercises, she learned to remain in her body even during the pain. When Janice came to a second Fertile Soul retreat, she stayed in her body during further acupuncture treatments, and that was when our souls connected. I can't tell you where I placed the needles. I just know I was guided to where they needed to go. Ooh, I love this. As I placed them, a shift occurred and the energy of the room changed. Janice lunged at the treatment table. Janice lunged on the treatment table and gasped in fear as her entire body undulated with a great thrusting force. But from then on, her monthly blood flowed from her uterus and her pain lessened. By accepting her body and no longer resisting what was, the cellular memories that Janice had embodied were released. Ooh, that's so powerful. She now lives happily, healthfully, and passionately, studying the ancient Incan cultures in Machu Picchu. Ah, Machu Picchu! Okay. All right. 3 more pages until we wrap this up. All right. Hey, Mama. Okay. Stage 5. Throughout stage 5, the young adult filters everything she sees and does according to the self-defining patterns established in the preceding stages. As a young adult, I lived through the filter of needing to prove that I was good enough. I defined myself by my relationships, what I was doing, and how I appeared to others. A way of life completely reinforced by Western society. Unfortunately, that was my experience too. I mean, not specifically, but specifically too. But Western, right? Fortunately, it's always possible to ignite the light of awareness within and learn to recognize imbalance. Rose was a top young movie producer in New York City, but her stress-filled career had begun to take its toll on her health. While she was fiery by nature and thrived in her adrenaline-rich profession, her consistent need for external recognition deprived her of a true sense of self and resulted in an intestinal malabsorption syndrome. Concerned for her health and well-being, Rose left her high-powered job and began acting out childish stories in a New York City school district. By nurturing herself and letting go of the need to define herself by her profession, she became able to express her creative force and helped others learn to express themselves. As she adjusted her lifestyle, her digestive system regained its health as well. Very good. Okay. All right, so stage 6. As an older adult, if she hasn't yet been shocked into awareness, her false sense of self may become more deeply ingrained. She becomes a creature of habit and reinforces her unhealthy posturing by getting a new car, a new profession, a boob job, or facelift, a new boyfriend, or a new family. But no one has to remain stuck in this damaging way of life. Anyone can break away from conditioning and return to her original nature. The husband of a friend of mine, had an affair when he turned 50. My friend, in turn, got breast implants and dyed her hair platinum. Now, when she looks back, she realizes how immature both her own approach and her husband's were to dealing with the inner voices that told them they needed to find themselves. Once they listened and looked at themselves, they found that their external changes did not bring them what they needed. By finally becoming aware that they were not living the life they were meant to live, they began a journey of more fruitful self-discovery through couples therapy. All right, stage 7. If she has been conditioned to push past resistance and has not listened to the warning signs in earlier stages, her negative patterning may now be her physical undoing. She may experience high blood pressure, alcoholism, heart attacks, and strokes. But even in stage 7, it is not too late. She can still wake up to her habitual negative patterns of self-expression and take the pathway home to her original nature. It is never too late. With every breath we take and with every beat of our heart, we can connect to the call of the Tao and come back to ourselves. Jean, a retired municipal judge, spent most of her reproductive years on oral contraceptives. She married later in life to a man with grown children. Jean had strong wood tendencies and felt as though she imposed herself on the world without looking inside for sustenance. In her early 60s, she contracted breast cancer and had mastectomies. She felt that part of the cause of her cancer was that her reproductive and creative energies had been squelched her entire life. After spending time at a retreat and following the 10 secrets, Jean was able to let go of her rigidity. She began to appreciate the gift of life and rediscovered her connection to the ways of nature. She began posing in the nude for art photographers and at age 65 learned to belly dance. Awesome. Eventually teaching belly dancing classes. She felt as though she were growing younger rather than older and had a complete physical, mental, and spiritual rebirth. Jean's golden years became golden indeed. No matter which stage you are in or what type of life you are leading, you have unlimited opportunities to transform yourself. Your storyline has brought you to where you are now, but it does not need to continue to define you. At the Fertile Soul retreats, women tell their stories the first day. Then they learn to expand beyond the limitations of their stories and let them go. You have already begun to shine the light of awareness within your temple. Now it is time to rebuild it. The rest of this book will show you how to take down restricting walls, open the blinds, rearrange the furniture, and develop a new plan for living in the palace where you were always meant to be. And this chapter ends with this Tao Te Ching saying, through the course of nature, muddy water becomes clear. Through the unfolding of life, man reaches perfection. Through sustained activity, that supreme rest is naturally found. Those who have Tao want nothing else. Though seemingly empty, they are ever full. Though seemingly old, they are beyond the reach of birth and death. Tao Te Ching. All right, you guys, we got through all of part 1 of this book. Thank you for spending time with me tonight. Yeah, man, I feel like as far as this plane is going, a lot of this raising action happened through this. I don't know. I feel like I learned even more about myself just by reading all of that. That's great. So sweet. Yeah, I'll come back for part 2 here another day. Thanks for spending time. I'll see you all next time. Thank you too. Thank you. Yeah, I'm going to go sit in front of the fan. I'm sweating. All right. Mwah. The way.